Fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka MCU, have access to a fantastic collection of animated shorts thanks to I Am Groot, a true icon. One video explains in detail why Rocket and Groot have one of the MCU's most unusual but great relationships. It's one of the sweetest friendships in the franchise, that's for sure. So let's look back at some of their sweetest moments and some of Groot's most iconic moments. Firstly, their funny miscommunication moment. The Guardians of the Galaxy first come together when they clashed over the orb on Xandar. They're sent to prison because of this, where they finally learn to collaborate to help others. Quill then loses it to Gamora, but he recovers it and flees just in time for Rocket and Groot to arrive with a large suitcase. To Rocket's dismay, Groot bags Gamora despite Rocket's instructions to bag Quill. Learn genders, man! Finally, Groot looks ecstatic as he takes out the appropriate man. Stop smiling, you idiot. You're meant to be a professional, Rocket scolds him. This perfectly encases just how funny and quirky Groot is. Next up, Rocket replants Groot. One of the most moving scenes in the MCU is when Groot sacrifices himself at the end of the very first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, surrendering his life to protect all of his new friends from the impact of Ronan's crashing ship. But Rocket begs him not to do it. It results in the Guardians defeating Ronan and rescuing Xandar. But for a brief interval, there is a melancholy impression that it wasn't a complete victory due to Groot. But in the following scene, Rocket is shown walking around with a pot that contains one of Groot's last twigs. Another cute moment is when Groot is protecting Rocket. A huge alien threatened Quill, Gamora, Groot, and Rocket when they were originally imprisoned in the kiln by the Nova Corps, and referred to them as fresh meat. Groot intervened to save everyone, including Rocket, whom he must have already saved 100 times in comparable situations, by growing his fingers into the man's nostrils and maybe into his brain. Funny enough, Nathan Fillion, a fan favorite who MCU fans had been eager to see play Nova, played this fleetingly present alien creature. He wouldn't be the first actor to portray two parts in the MCU, so hopefully this will still transpire. When they join Thor on the battlefield, Thor regains his mojo around the end of Avengers Infinity War as he gets his new weapon Stormbreaker, and travels to Earth on the Bifrost to battle the Black Order in Wakanda. The only reason Rocket and Groot could have joined him is if they were motivated to act morally. Thor didn't require their ship to go there. The other Guardians weren't in Wakanda, and they had no acquaintances on Earth. They nevertheless went because they believed that there was a chance to stop Thanos' fury, and that this was a good enough excuse to become engaged. It serves as a significant turning point in their character growth. The moment when Rocket is trying to teach Groot about the detonator. The fact that Groot is a baby in the second Guardians film is more than simply a cute marketing ploy, since he's the only person small enough to carry the bomb and its detonator to Ego's core and blow up his planet. His size plays a crucial role in the plot during the climactic battle. Rocket gets upset as he tries to explain to Groot the difference between the two buttons on the detonator, one of which will set off a 5-minute timer and the other of which will instantaneously detonate the bomb. He continues assuming that pressing the incorrect button will kill them all. Despite this, Rocket never loses his cool with the young, bewildered Groot. And lastly, when Rocket is protecting Groot from Thanos, there was a brief scene in Avengers Endgame that many viewers should have noticed. During the Battle of Earth, it takes place just as Thanos is about to destroy the Avengers with his warships until Captain Marvel flies right through it, destroying its cannons. When the strongest Earth heroes face certain death, Rocket leaps upon Groot to protect him from the flames. Poor Rocket has now seen his dearest buddy die not once, but twice, and he can't bear to see it happen again. So without giving it a second thought, he gives his life in sacrifice for him. What a sweet friendship that we hope to see more of. Now, speaking of Groot, he has to be one of the most lovable characters, so we had to look at some of his most memorable moments, beginning with when Groot drinks from a water fountain. Groot is first seen by viewers on planet Xandar, where he and his closest friend Rocket are looking for lucrative rewards. Conversely, Groot is determined that his thirst takes priority, and is excitedly downing copious amounts of water from a nearby public fountain, or rather, Rocket is. Although Rocket chastises him and finds it repulsive, Groot insists that he hasn't done anything, and returns to fulfilling his thirst as soon as Rocket stops paying attention. Groot just keeps chugging while Rocket sighs in despair, too submerged in water to notice as his companion comes around and catches him in the act. Apart from his introduction, it's not a significant Groot scene in the film. Even so, it's hilarious and establishes his tremendous comedic aptitude and relationship with Rocket. Obviously, the raccoon-like alien is in charge of the two, but Groot doesn't blindly follow him either. Next, when he grows a flower. At the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot is portrayed as a comedic character, but the movie, to its credit, doesn't take too long to reveal his other side. Following their escape from the kiln, Groot and the Guardians journey to the enigmatic Nowhere. A roiling hotbed of crime is housed inside a dead Celestial's severed head. The group is on its way to buy a fascinating artifact from the even more enigmatic Collector when a small, lovely event occurs. They come across a bunch of young youngsters while they're moving through the streets of Nowhere. The children beg the Guardians for anything they can spare and give the impression of being homeless, while Quill cautions them to mind your wallets. However, one female pushes through and finds herself beaming up at Groot, who of course smiles back, grows a flower from his own body, and then gives it to her. This is a crucial turning point for Groot, since it shows that he's the most moral of the only rare rarely moral guardians. None of the others provide anything for the children, and that he has a deep-seated concern for and empathy for other people. Giving all he can, Groot prepares for the sacrifice he'll make in the movie's pivotal scene. It's a small but significant and incredibly memorable moment. Groot shows his true power and defeats multiple soldiers at once. Korath the Pursuer and some of his and Ronan's Sakaran army are being fought by Star-Lord, Drax, and Groot on the Dark Aster. The three Guardians do reasonably well in the battle. Drax even manages to take down Korath by himself, but more is needed to stop the reinforcements from showing up. With a roar, Groot thrusts his arms forward, stretching it past its original length till it stabs through multiple guards at once as the new wave of Sakaran soldiers approaches. The impaled guards' bodies are then all lifted by Groot at once, and he starts bashing them against the ship's walls and roof. After defeating his opponents, he retracts his arms and beams a joyful smile at both Star-Lord and Drax, who are both in disbelief. Following a number of early scenes that highlight Groot's benevolence, this scene shifts gears by bringing to light the character's more ruthless side. It also demonstrates how smoothly Groot may change from wrath to kindness. Next up, the moment Groot sacrifices himself. Rocket defeats the Accuser for a while by ramming the Milano into the Dark Aster, preventing Ronan from killing the other Guardians. But as a result of the collision, the Dark Aster violently falls to the ground. Groot surrounds his pals in a ball formed of many branches when he realizes they're at risk of dying in the impending collision, since he knows his body will withstand the full force of the impact. Rocket begs Groot inconsolably not to do it, questioning the purpose of his self-sacrifice. Rocket cries, but Groot wipes it away with a smile and says, "We are Groot." The original Groot is in a lovely moment where his altruism is fully revealed. Equally moving is the scene right after the collision, when the Guardians begin to regain their composure and Rocket is holding a fragment of Groot's broken remains. This scene is made even more moving by the 5 Stairsteps song, "Oh Child," which starts playing on Star-Lord's cassette player as a result of the collision. Lastly, the moment Baby Groot appears is iconic and very memorable. Groot doesn't genuinely survive Guardians of the Galaxy undamaged, even though he isn't actually dead. As a result, the Groot who appears in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is not the adult Groot we have come to know and love, but the almost agonizingly cute baby Groot. While he did survive the fall of the Dark Aster, it was only because his species can regenerate itself from whatever twigs are left. This incarnation of the character first appears in the legendary opening credits scene of Volume 2, where the Guardians fight the terrible Obelisk, a huge tentacled monster they have been hired to get rid of. The majority of the combat takes place in the background, with the camera focusing on Baby Groot as he plugs in Quill's music system and dances across the battlefield to the Electric Lights Orchestra's Mr. Blue Sky. Although it may just seem like a silly joke to frame the opening credits, this scene actually serves as a major plot point for the entire film, both thematically and narratively. Groot's comedic antics take up most of the screen while the serious stuff happens around it. Gamora in particular exhibits parental feelings towards Groot and worries that he might be hurt during the fight. This not only illustrates Baby Groot's new dynamic with the group, but it also portends the theme of the entire movie, which is the bond between a parent, or adopted parent, and their offspring. Unfortunately, guys, that is all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.